reset the setting. When my camera comes on, sometimes, not all the time, I have to reset time and day. I reset it last night because it's a practice that I do all the time, but for some reason it needed to be reset again, which is unusual. So that delays the time frame of turning it on and getting it going, which is why I make it a practice to make sure everything is set the night before. So my camera never did this before until I bought 2 new batteries, where it was like a special deal. My old battery finally fizzled after a little over a year of usage, to the point of not being able to be charged up again. So this is, a newish thing. In a way, it's a scare tactic, because the last one I didn't even have to set, day and time. And I didn't even realize it was like an issue on the, camera. But then I realized, like, if someone wanted to make sure, if someone in supersonic land out there in more CIA-ish minded worlds, if they were able to control things, which they are, they could make you worry about, do you have the right time and date on there in case something weird happens? Because, look at Sebastian Rogers, and everyone's trying to break down dates and times and whether cameras have been manipulated, or, do cameras lie? They do sometimes. They show this frequently. Just with imagery, like, you can make yourself look like a totally different person, or sometimes some cameras, particularly bad phone cameras that people use for FaceTime or what have you, are so bad that someone who's like totally awesome could look, pretty worn and torn, like could appear like almost, drug addict-ish, when they really don't look like that in person. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of people who can only afford so much, could have phones that make them look horrible, and then that hits their psychology. It's like, then they worry, like, do I look like this to people? My mirror states otherwise. I seem okay-ish, but I turn on the phone camera, and when it, is aimed in my direction, I look like, some worn up, haggard, old hag lady, and it's not really true. Like, in person, people don't really, in person people look a lot better because they're real. So here's a little situation here, with not only like the line down here from the lamp, but luckily there's a fence up there. Otherwise, if that Audi was there already, that black Audi, this lamp pole would have hit the back of that car. I think it's interesting, right? That looks like a barrette, and then like a rubber tube, inner tube from a tire, or what have you. This makes me think of a video I saw on Sunday that just went through really quick, but it was of a young boy who wound up electrocuted. He must have like touched something. His hands were totally like, severe burns to his hands. The cops were called in, and they were on it right away. And it seemed like, because I do think people are roboted more than you can imagine, so, and sometimes in a good way. I know it sounds like robots, but sometimes it can be in a good way, and he knew exactly what to do right away, how to handle this boy. The boy had hair singed off of his head, his hands were totally burned. He couldn't really speak or anything, I think, at first, in total shock. They got him in the car, they had camera of the whole thing, like video of the whole thing. Anyway, like, in the back of the police car, which was the quickest vehicle to reach this kid, which is an extreme situation to be actually electrocuted. this little upside down McDonald's box that looks like a gator. A little thing here. There are people in Gainesville who I thought were ultra healthy, and I found out they went to McDonald's often enough, and I was like, oh, I thought they were super farm healthy, like organic. Turns out not, so that explains a lot to me. But anyway, in terms of, you know, decisions they made and stuff like that, so we'll get into that. These are people who are supposed to know better, but at least that's what was dictated to the universe. So anyway, in this video, like, it was just, you know, incredibly tear-jerking. They had to cut the backpack off of him before they got him in the car. You know, they were trying to make sure his heart was working, and they were hoping he would be able to speak. And all of a sudden, he started to, you know, yell out, you know, in pain. Yelp out, and he, like, someone asked, well, what's your mom's name? They were trying to see if he could be able to say that. He tried, but he was so electrocuted that he couldn't even speak correctly. Like, you know, nothing would come out. So anyway, turns out he's, you know, he recovered in the hospital and he lived. So that's good. You know, and in a situation like that, kids especially, I mean, adults also do. Like, oh my God, I don't want to get in trouble. You know, maybe someone, you know, all these ideas ran through my mind of what people do. Maybe someone, a friend, quote unquote, you know, put him up to, you know, doing something that he wouldn't normally do, like touch something electrical or whatever. Or did he think it was okay to do that? Or, but he was afraid to get in trouble. That would be the idea, especially, and kids too, when, you know, especially if you come from lower income. If the police, ambulance, if all these people come in who people usually don't love, right? Because they don't always seem like the good guys to, you know, a lot of people. They can seem scary, like, you know, don't take away my parents or whatever. So, you know, of course, when someone's, you know, even a young child is electrocuted, the thought process in the brain, which some might call the id and ego and stuff like that, shuts down probably because it's immediate survival mode, you know. But still, if say, you know, your parents or your friends or whatever are afraid of the po and stuff like that, to actually have to have them help you can be in and of itself a terror, you know what I mean? They don't want to be the ones who had to have police help them, you know what I mean? So anyway, other people have different perspectives. Sometimes there are cops out there who probably wonder if kids want to be rescued and saved from certain situations, just in general. I don't know. You know, that's not a world that I would have never made it as a cop per se. Like, for 1 second I thought about it because it's something that happened a long time ago, but it's like, I am totally not, you know, I'm totally not, you know, I'm proud to be non-confrontational, although I've had to stand up for